as well today. So
it's me any minute.
Preston on our side. So let's introduce our next guest up onto the balcony. We've had a little bit of music and we will have some more music later on. But now it is time for some tales. And when I say tales, this man is the man behind the ghost tour of Guildford. He is actually also, just up the archway here, across the road, he is also the custodian of Guildford Castle and has been so since 1994. He's the author of no less than 3 books about this very town. As I said, he is also the genius behind the ghost tour of Guildford. Please welcome out Mr.
Right now. Yes, thank you.
Horrible evening, Guildford! Look at you all down there, my minions. Oh, everybody give me a ooh. Not bad. Everybody give me a everybody give me a what are you doing up there? It's not Halloween. Suit yourself. Basically, they brought me in this evening because they want me to ruin this evening's entertainment. So I kidnapped Shane Lynch. I've got him locked in a cupboard. You're having no lights this evening. I'm not letting him out. Okay, it's time for some boring history to be made a little bit more interesting for you. We're all standing right now in front of Guildford's Guildhall. There's been a Guildhall here since medieval times, but the building we're standing in front of now dates from 1589 and beyond. Unfortunately, this building doesn't have a single ghost. Aww. But many people attempted to death in here. And many witchcraft trials were held here. The last of which was in 1701, when a local man, Richard Hathaway, accused his servant, Sarah Mudd, of bewitching him. He said every time she looked at him, he would start to vomit pins and nuts. Cadbury's pins and nuts. And he was asked to demonstrate this to the court. So Sarah Mudd was ordered to stare at her boss. She did so. And as she did so, Richard Hathaway began to gag. And then he began to retch. And then into his hand, he brought out a huge amount of pins and nuts. The court stood amazed that Sarah Mudd could bewitch her master. Surely she is indeed with the devil. And then the clerk of the court checked Hathaway's pockets, finding them stuffed full of pins and nuts ready to bring out at the right moment. For wasting the court's time, Hathaway was ordered to be whipped behind the cart from the bottom to the top of Guildford High Street, and he went home a very happy man. Now, what time of year do you think most ghosts turn up? You will reckon it's Halloween, don't you? But it's not true. Believe it or not, most ghosts turn up in this country on Christmas Eve itself. And we do actually have a Christmas ghost story concerning Guildford. And it actually happened along Tunsgate. At the end of Tunsgate, until the 1950s, there was a big old chapel called Tunsgate Baptist Chapel. And when they came to knock it down in 1954, the workmen found they couldn't just knock it down with, sledgehammers and pickaxe. They had to call in bulldozers to do it. And because bulldozers are quite dangerous, they had to shut Castle Street and Tunsgate whilst they were doing it. So imagine the surprise of the bulldozer driver one day when he was knocking down one of the walls. As all the bricks fell, he saw a young lady in a long grey dress ignore him and all the demolition work, walk straight through the middle of the pile of bricks, and then down Tunsgate into a shop at the bottom on the right-hand side, into which he disappeared. Some years later, the shop became a ladies' clothing shop. Now, 2 people feature in this story, the shop assistant and the manageress. The manageress had only a small part to do because she was doing the job she was paid to, spending the whole day in the staff room with her shoes off, Kit Kat, cup of coffee and copy of Take a Break magazine. So the shop assistant was left by herself. When she saw a young lady in a long grey dress ignore her, walk straight up the stairs to the upstairs showroom. And being the only member of staff on duty, of course she followed her. But when she got to the top of the stairs, there was no one around. She looked around the top floor, looked at the changing room doors, looked downstairs out into the street. Nobody was wearing a grey dress. In fact, nobody was wearing anything! It was the 60s. I'm not causing this feedback, they need to control it in there. So, she was really concerned about what she'd seen. She ran back into the manageress and explained everything, to which she said, "Calm down, dear, it's only a manifestation of the paranormal." And who could this young lady be? Well, I have a theory. A little way up Sydenham Road from here is the modern Castle car park, which replaced the horrible concrete multi-storey that was there before it. And according to local stories, a long, long time before that, hundreds of years ago, there was, on the site where the car park is now, a large house owned by a local rich man, whose eldest daughter, Lorna, had been going out with a young man he disliked. So one day, Lorna invited her boyfriend round for a meal, and he actually got into an argument with Lorna's father. So this big row erupted. Lorna stormed out of the house, and she didn't return home. She was found early the following morning, lying at the bottom of the cliff outside Rat's Close, just beyond the castle grounds, her bones broken beyond repair and suffering from hypothermia. She was taken back to her father's house that Christmas day, where later that day it is said she died. But legend has it that her father was so angry that because she'd gone out with a young man he disliked, he refused to allow her to be buried in the family grave. And so it's thought to be Lorna who haunts this area to this very day. Now you don't have to go looking for Lorna because you're going to be able to see ghosts a little bit sooner than you think. Firstly, shameless plug, the final ghost tour of 2010 is happening tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, outside Holy Trinity Church. Come along and see me and throw things at me, money is very good. But there's something else happening as well. Some of you may have seen some folks walking around this evening in Victorian clothing. And you might have seen there's a rather large ghost just on the other side of Tonsgate Arch, just there. Well, these people are from Brandy Players, I'm with them as well, and we're performing a Christmas carol in the middle of next month for several nights at the Electric Theatre. So we've got some leaflets there, and come along and see us, and we'll be very happy to see you. But that's all from me, ladies and gentlemen. Have a very happy Christmas. Enjoy the turning on the lights. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much for Philip Hunt.